total solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes in front of the sun as seen from a place on Earth. As the Earth turns on its axis through the day, a narrow shadow cast by the moon traces out a path along the Earth's surface. Inside this narrow track, known as the umbra, the eclipse appears total. This solar eclipse is the longest total solar eclipse that will occur in the 21st century, with the period of totality lasting 6 minutes and 39 seconds. Eclipses repeat according to an 18-year cycle called the Saros cycle. This eclipse belongs to the Saros cycle 136, the most recent eclipses of which took place in 1991, 1973, 1955 and 1937. In mundane astrology, the degree in which the eclipse occurs is examined in the various charts for cities, nation-states and leaders, highlighting particular regions or areas of focus. In addition, charts are cast for the moment of greatest eclipse for areas of interest, in order to check where planets rise, culminate and set at this highly auspicious moment. This eclipse occurs at 29.5 degrees of Cancer as the lunar nodes shift from fixed to cardinal signs, bringing a global wave of ideas into action over the next 18 months. The path of the eclipse starts in India, near the cities of Mumbai and Ahmedabad, and crosses close to Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh. It moves east through China, including its main commercial centre, Shanghai. This is what the eclipse looks like from Shanghai, around 9:40 AM local time, speeded up 300 times. Its path then crosses the Yellow Sea and moves south of Japan out into the Pacific Ocean, where it then dissipates. This eclipse, whose path runs exactly between Beijing and Taipei, opposes Venus in the chart for the foundation of the Republic of China, commonly known as Taiwan, highlighting agreements and accords developing between the two Chinas. In Australasia, the eclipse opposes Mars in the chart for the Constitution of New Zealand, placing focus on industrial disputes, military activity and an active opposition. Moving to Southeast Asia, the eclipse is especially prominent in Thailand. It is exactly conjunct the moon of the foundation chart for Bangkok, emphasising remarkable strength of feeling amongst the populace. At the exact time of the eclipse in Bangkok, Saturn rises and Venus culminates, suggesting agreements made in government to tackle difficult events. Moving to South Asia, the eclipse targets Afghanistan and Pakistan. It exactly conjoins Mercury in the chart for the 1973 Dawood coup, representing commerce and communications in Afghanistan. At the time of the eclipse in Kabul, the current Jupiter-Chiron-Neptune conjunction is setting, suggesting disillusionment by empty promises of progress from foreign quarters. In Pakistan, the eclipse conjoins Uranus in the chart for the Pakistani Republic, pointing up explosive forces of anarchy and revolution. The eclipse conjoins Jupiter in the chart for the Islamic Republic of Iran, putting pressure on the religious orthodoxy and the judicial system. In Saudi Arabia, the eclipse opposes Jupiter in the chart of the 1926 union of Hijaz and Nejd, again highlighting economic prosperity, justice and religion. But it also joins Mars and opposes Saturn in the 1932 chart for the proclamation of the kingdom, suggesting increasing internal tensions with resulting government crackdowns. In Egypt, the eclipse conjoins the Sun in the chart for Nasser's coup of 1952, placing focus on the survival of the current leadership in Cairo. Moving to Europe, the principal places highlighted by the eclipse are Poland and Spain. The eclipse conjoins Saturn in the chart for the Two Emperors Declaration of 1916, exposing questions about the borders and limits of the Polish nation, as well as the authority of its government. At the time of the eclipse, the Sun and Moon are rising in Warsaw, and Uranus is culminating, framing events against a backdrop of sudden changes in government. The eclipse is on the nodal axis of the chart for the Union of Aragon and Castile in 1479, suggesting another key stage in the evolution of the Spanish peoples. None of the charts examined for the major regions of Africa showed strong connections with this eclipse. Moving to the Americas, Uranus is rising in Santiago at the time of the eclipse, marking this as a place to watch for anti-authoritarian activities, demonstrations, and explosive changes. In Venezuela, the Sun in the 1830 chart for independence is sextiled by the eclipse, and Pluto is exactly culminating in Caracas at the time of the eclipse, suggesting subterfuge and hidden powers affecting the leadership of the nation. In Mexico, the eclipse conjoins Mars in the 1821 chart for independence, placing focus on conflict and internal strife, as well as possible military activity. In Mexico City at the time of the eclipse, the Jupiter-Chiron-Neptune conjunction is rising, bringing an appearance of chaos and disorder to the national image. Finally, in the United States, the eclipse opposes Pluto in the chart for the drawing up of the Articles of Confederation, highlighting the collective will invested in different states, and conjoins Uranus in the chart for federation, placing focus on major changes to the constitutional arrangements of the Union. It also conjoins Neptune in the chart for the opening of the US Federal Reserve in 1914, exposing the fraudulent system of privately issued debt that is the basis of the Western economic model. Saturn's setting in Washington at the time of the eclipse suggests problems with allies and heavy debts to foreign powers. The material presented in this short synopsis is based on a broad overview of the most widely used charts in current use, and is only intended as a guide to the sort of detailed examination that can be done in the field of mundane astrology. Hopefully it can be taken as an example of how repeating celestial patterns, viewed from the different parts of our planet, can inspire a sense of global consciousness, stimulate action for positive change, and enable a vision of worldwide participation in the unfolding cosmic scheme.